All right, hello there, everyone. I tried to record this once already, and my microphone stopped working. So now it's back, and I'm back, and we're gonna see what the heck is going on here. Um, I'm sorry, I got distracted looking at the chat. Anyways, yeah, so I just wanted to react to email things. You can see I've already got some information up for the future. I'll probably do some skipping around because they kind of just talk, like they'll read emails and stuff, and I don't necessarily feel like sitting for like a minute to listen to them read the emails. So I'll probably just like pause on the email and then like talk about it, and then just skip over the part where they read it and stuff. So yeah, we'll just get right into it here.
One, Taylor, if you can bring me up on the screen. I'm going to
Perfect.
show you. So the first thing, this is a Newsweek article, which basically some of the first emails that we've seen. Fauci emails show that experts had concern COVID virus could look engineered. Okay.
Yeah, so I looked that one up and I found this. On a phylogenetic tree, the virus looks totally normal, and the close clustering with bats suggests that bats serve as the reservoir. The unusual features of the virus make up a really small part of the genome, so one has to look really closely at all the sequences to see that some of the features potentially look engineered. So basically, what we're talking about here, yeah, he said that unusual features of a really small part of the genome could potentially look engineered. So basically, I mean, it sounds like the most likely thing is that there's bats, and maybe a little bit of it looks a little strange that maybe is human made potentially, but we don't really know. And I guess basically, if this does turn out to be the case, and they are um, making it in a lab, well, wait, let me see what they say first, and then I'll see if I can maybe respond to it because I might be repetitive here.
Now, this was months ago. This
Right.
was almost a year ago when some of these were coming out. This was in April last year, May and last year when these emails were coming on, where he was being advised by other scientists, other people in his staff, that the virus could have been engineered, and he was basically ignoring it. This is the first thing that we're going to go to. And now I think this is the most.
Oh, okay. So he just doesn't say anything about it. Okay. Yeah, but basically the reason that I wanted to clarify a little bit was if it is potentially engineered, most Republicans seem to suggest that it was some like bioweapon, like nefarious purposes, and that's probably almost certainly not the case. What would actually be happening is it would be like probably a virus that they brought from wherever the heck they find bats in China. I don't know. I don't know where Wuhan is like in relation to bat homes. Um, and and they'd bring it to the lab and they'd probably just examine it, maybe do something to it potentially, but it probably just kind of examine it and stuff and like try and like learn about it. And what would what would then have probably happened is if something happened with it, it probably would have just kind of leaked that like on accident. Like because that happens sometimes. Labs have leaks, unfortunately, which is kind of scary. But it is what it is, and yeah, it just leaked out, and I don't think it was some kind of intentional thing. But I bet most of the people on PragerU, and I know most conservatives, it seems like a Marjorie Taylor Greene's of the world, seem to think that it was, and that's not really true. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Which we've now seen that the administration now and other people are researching whether it could have started in the Wuhan lab, which I'll get into this in a sec, okay? Let's just keep going through some of these emails, okay?
Sure.
This one is about masks. I sent it to Amala and Taylor at 5:30 a.m. this morning. I was awake
Yes,
looking at stories and stuff for the podcast today and sent this at 5:30 in the morning. Let's read this email, shall we? Masks are really
Can you
for.
make it bigger so people can see?
Oh yeah, let me see.
Okay, so I'm just gonna get ready to skip over him reading. Um, but yeah, basically, the key thing here, and I know that they're gonna mention it in a second because I watched this video partially a little bit before to try and respond to it the first time, and it wasn't working. But the key word is Wednesday, February 5th, 2020. Because since then, we have learned that they actually are effective and they do actually work and they do keep people safe. and that they do make a pretty big difference. I mean, obviously N95 is 95%. Black Lives Matter protests did not seem to trigger a spike in infections when they wore masks. Georgia summer camps where children did not wear face coverings did. Caveats abound. Blah blah blah. Um, those those reduced, yeah, basically state mandates for masks reduced the growth of COVID cases by up to 2% per day. Mandates might have averted as many as 450,000 cases after controlling for other measures. I mean, the evidence is pretty overwhelming that masks work. And back in February 2020, they were just they didn't we didn't know yet. They don't know yet. So I mean, obviously we learned some more.
Diagnostics and vaccines. This was on February 5th of 2020.
Right. So we knew this information coming out, and I think
See, now this is the part where they're gonna get really stupid. And what the problem is that you can say, "Oh, we've known this for all this time," but that's only true if you ignore all the evidence to the contrary that's come out since then, which is pretty much all the evidence on the topic has come out since this email, and they just kind of are ignoring that all for convenience's sake, which is really really truly fantastic and awesome and so cool. Definitely proves he's caught lying in emails when you can't look up a quick Google search on face masks. Like, it's really astounding.
a lot of conservatives right now are just watching these emails come out, and they're just sitting and smiling to themselves in some cases, but in others, very, very angry that they've known this all along.
They've been wrong all along. You've been wrong all along. And it's amazing how one, like, 5-second Google search could prove it, and you just don't. You just don't do it. Like, come on.
They were privy to this information from the very beginning, and now, just now, a year later, we get to see these emails.
Well, just
You could.
remember, this is what made me so mad about this whole thing. That it was like PragerU, ourselves, we were getting
Oh my
banned
god.
off Facebook. We were getting our posts censored. We were getting all these
Right.
different strikes. My page was getting strikes. My videos were getting removed because we said exactly this.
Yeah, because you're wrong. Again, just look, dude. You could literally just look it up in like 5 seconds.
Because we said other things about maybe the efficacy of wearing a mask or other
Yeah,
things when it
because
came
you're
to COVID.
wrong.
Tons of other conconservatives were saying the
Yeah,
same thing, getting shadow
and they're
banned,
wrong
getting taken
too.
off their
Yeah, that's what
platform, getting
happens when
deleted,
you
and that's like
spread
we
dangerous
went and we said all
information.
these things, and everyone said, "No, you're a right wing nut job conspiracy
Yep, that's
theorist."
true. You are.
That is the most annoying thing in the world, that we were labeled as this right wing nut job conspiracy theorist, and then it turns out that so many of the things that we had talk about and say maybe this was created in a Wuhan lab, maybe the masks don't work as well as people think, and everyone says, "No, you're a lunatic."
Well,
And now
yeah,
it
you
comes out
are.
that these were the exact same things being discussed, not just between politicians, but people who are doctors, people
Yeah,
who are
way
scientists,
back in February
epidemiologists who are
2020,
talking
back
about this
before
and
the
actually putting
evidence,
that out there.
back
Absolutely.
before the evidence for vaccines became effective. It's astounding, dude. It's astounding how you're just ignoring everything that's happened since then and all the evidence to the contrary. Like, and these are the people that PragerU hires. Come on, man. I mean, I get that PragerU, when they have shit beliefs like that, aren't gonna really find anybody impressive, but like, come on.
Insane.
Right. And they're going to spin this and say, well, Dr. Fauci had a very, very stressful job. You can't imagine the sort of weight that was on that man's shoulders. And for you to put out information that goes directly against his advisement, we had to censor it. We had to delete it. Even
I don't think anybody's saying anything about necessarily about his job being stressful. I mean, even though it was, I mean, I'm sure he was probably working. God, in all honesty, I mean, you could probably bet he was working like, what, 16, 18 hours a day, I would bet maybe. That'd be my guess. I bet you he was working like most of the day, constantly, like from the moment he woke up until the moment he went to bed. I bet he probably shrunk his sleep schedule pretty like compactly too, truncated that. I imagine it is probably insanely stressful. But that's not really the reasoning here. The reasoning is that the evidence says you're wrong and you just won't believe it.
Even though you are absolutely right. That is how the left is going to spin this narrative, as they do every single time that they get called out on something of which they were wrong about.
We're not wrong. You're wrong. Like, literally, dude, Amla, how old? I don't know how old. You're probably my age, man. Let's side note. How do I spell his name? What's his name? How old is this dude? I'm genuinely curious. Right wing views for Generation Z. Yeah, gross. How old is he though? I'm kind of curious. I don't know. Anyways, I was just curious if maybe I could see. I wanted to know if he was my age or not. He looks like he could be.
Here's another one from Fauci. We said, Kai, error in my statement to you. I meant to say that most transmissions occur from someone who is symptomatic, not asymptomatic. How long did you... Oh, and he says, I am really tired.
Not
Sorry
much
that you're
sleep these
tired.
days.
I understand that you had a lot going on, Doc.
So again, look at the day, February 4th, 2020.
Fauci, but that doesn't mean that you're allowed to lie in public and all of these different things. But for months and months, this was the one thing that my mom told me, because I would go home and like visit my grandparents, and she wanted me.
This is amazing. I type so slow with one hand. Transmission from asymptomatic individuals was estimated to account for more than half of all transmissions. That's what this study found. And you'll notice the date is more recent than that email because the evidence has changed. A common theme here that PragerU just cannot fathom and wrap their heads around. Truly amazing.
Me to wear a mask, and other people in my family wanted me to wear a mask. I wouldn't do it, and they said
You wouldn't do it, yeah, because you're a fucking asshole from the sounds of it.
the reason
And
why
inconsiderate too to do that to your grandparents, to put them at risk like that. Like how like come on, man. Come on. You couldn't even do it for their sake. Like, even if you don't believe it, you couldn't at least do it for their peace of mind. Like, come on, dude. Come on.
said that is because if you're asymptomatic, then
Which
you
also, not believing it is stupid. I'm going to clarify. It's not like, oh, well, we can agree to disagree. You're wrong. Like, you're wrong, and there's no, like, oh, our separate opinions. Like, you're just wrong. Straight up. And you have no clue what you're talking about. And it's amazing that people would listen to you. Honestly.
still get your grandma sick, or you can still get my grandpa sick. So you have to wear a mask. And it's like, it turns out that wasn't even the case. Or it turns out that
Turns out that it is the case. Over half of the transmissions are that way. So it turns out that you were wrong yet again, Will. Will Witt.
at least they were looking at it and saying, no, you are not going to be giving the virus to
God.
people really if you are asymptomatic. It's just not happening. You are only giving the virus to people mostly the keyword
Wrong.
we'll keep it like that, but mostly if
Wrong,
you are
wrong,
symptomatic.
wrong.
Another lie, a straight up lie that we've been told.
None of this is wrong. You've been... Oh my god, dude. It's literally the same point over and over again. You just don't know how to acknowledge that information can change.
For months about this,
dear
it
Lord.
comes out that the people who are in charge of this didn't actually even believe the lie that they were
They
telling.
do.
Right, and why did they tell you this lie? Because they know that if you had the accurate, true information, that you would go on living your lives the way you did before this whole pandemic happened.
If you had the accurate and true information, you wouldn't be listening to just absolute clueless commentators like these two. Honestly. Good God. Come on, man. This is such simple stuff. And they just can't get it. Like, come on.
And when all this hysteria happened, if they had truly given you the real medical information and told you if you are asymptomatic, you have virtually no risk of catching or spreading this disease.
Wrong. Oh, wrong part. Wrong. Hama was wrong.
you would have lived your normal life. They wouldn't have had control over you. They wouldn't have been
Literally
able.
nobody cares about control. Literally nobody. Look, I'm in a state with some of the most vaccinations in the country, right? Now that COVID rates are pretty much non-existent here, everything is open again. Things are back to normal. Masks are gone. It's almost like that you were wrong about that too. Nobody cares about that. And my state is a Republican governor too. So there you go. Um, Even though it's one of the most vaccinated liberal states in the country, he's still got a Republican governor. Um, yeah, even though he's been following guidelines and things have gone mostly well, and now all of a sudden things are opening up again, and states with Democratic governors are opening up again. Like what California opens in like 10 days. Like just all this stuff is it's just wrong. Like every part of it, somehow even the opinion parts make no sense, which is astounding. Even their opinions are bad.
To assert these sort of totalitarian
Oh
regulations
my
into
god.
your lives, into your family's lives, into your loved ones' lives. Instead, they lied to the American people. They spun all this COVID
They didn't
hysteria
lie about
on every single
anything.
platform, social media, on the news. Through these emails, we learned that he was working with Mark Zuckerberg on how to spin these tales to the American people because they know that if you are given truthful information, you will exercise your freedoms.
I love being proven right. That's, if you guys.
I'm amazed that you know what that feeling is like. Really. Honestly, I'm astounded that you've experienced that because you haven't done it yet today. It hasn't come true yet today. So I'm curious why you have that feeling right now.
Know me, that sounds like something I would
Right,
love.
right.
I love being proven right. Let's see how CNN reacted to it, Taylor, if you're back on the thing. Excuse me. Thousands of emails from and to Dr. Fauci reveal the weight that came with his role as a rare source of frank honesty within the Trump administration's COVID-19 task force. So instead of addressing any of the issues in any of the emails that have
Because they're all non issues. As we've talked about here and here and here, none of them are legitimate.
come about because of this, or people's real concerns. I mean, people have real concerns about this on whether or not, the stuff that we're reading in the emails is totally accurate.
You seem to be the only ones. Conservatives seem to be the only ones. They're old emails with outdated information. We know the accurate information now, and it's really not that complicated. Like you can just Google it, dude.
And what we should think about COVID now going forward because of these emails and because of what these scientists said. They don't address that in their headline. All it says is that Dr. Fauci's life was really hard during this.
Right.
And he did the Time headline. He did the other headlines for all sorts of different magazines and stuff, getting so popular and famous. I mean,
But he was stressed. He was too stressed to tell you truthful information about.
He did tell you truthful information. You're just a moron who doesn't like to listen. Like, come on, man. I'm being very blunt, but this is like, God. It's literally like I just did a quick Google search, man, and found this information, and they just refuse. Like they're at a computer right now, looking at the tabs. They should just look it up. But no.
How to live your lives during this pandemic. He was far too stressed, but he was just right enough to take on the title of being the supreme overlord of what you do during your life.
Can we get a new talking point now?
But he's too stressed to tell you the
He
truth.
told you the
being
truth.
stressed has to do with not being able to tell the truth.
It's the classic
Who is this guy?
leftist thing right now in our culture where if you come under any sort of criticism or scrutiny, all you have to do is say I'm a victim. I was under a lot of stress.
Right.
What? When does this happen? Where are you making this up from? What? What do you mean this? What? What do you mean this happens? I don't. What?
Things are going bad for me. People are attacking me now, attacking my character because you made legitimate mistakes, and it's this cop out.
And I don't want to say that this isn't a stressful job, okay? Obviously, Dr. Fauci's job is incredibly stressful. He's got people at it from all angles trying to tell him different types of things, okay? I understand that. I'm not going to say that this guy had an easy job whatsoever. But when you look at these emails, no matter how stressed you are or how hard your job is, that doesn't mean that you have the ability to not tell the truth.
He has told the truth, right? Look, back in February, he said what was based on the most accurate information that we had. Now he's saying what's based on the most accurate information that we have. And the stuff back in February that you think is correct is wrong because it's old and outdated and you just don't acknowledge that. Can we get another email discussion here? Are they just going to talk? I don't really want to listen to them say the same points over and over and over again for another like 6 minutes. I'll give it another little bit longer and let's see.
You tell the truth no matter what, no matter how stressed you are. And even if you aren't doing it because you're too tired, have someone speak on your behalf saying the information that you discover. At least something to like let the American people know that it's going to be okay
They've told you the information, you just won't listen.
and that there is not consistency in the things that you said before. I mean, look, if these emails came out and he
We've
said,
discussed the non consistency already because the non consistency is we didn't know at first, and then oh my god, we learned that all of a sudden it's effective as we actually got more like understanding and information about a new virus. So like this isn't unusual at all. All right.
you know, you don't have to wear a mask and like it doesn't really help and everything. And he changed after, you know, maybe saying masks do work and then changed because he was being honest with the new science. It's like, okay, that makes sense. You got
That's what happened. I'm glad that it makes sense.
new science, talk to new scientists, whatever. That's totally fair. But this isn't it. This is back in, you know, February where we're reading this email.
What do you think happened between now and February of 2020? Maybe. That would maybe say if we learned any new information about asymptomatic individuals, or if we learned any new information about the efficacy of face masks, I wonder what it could possibly be that could have changed this. So strange.
About the mask, and then nothing changed. It was about in March last year when they were like, no, now you have to wear the mask afterwards. So it's like even after the research and finding out that the masks aren't super effective,
There wasn't any research yet at that point because the virus was too new. How do you have it backwards? Oh my god.
they still continue the charade the entire time. This is how you know that something like this isn't about keeping people safe.
No.
It is about keeping people safe. We've proven that, right? I literally, if I can prove that right here with a Google search right here for this very impromptu YouTube video, you should be able to prove it too for your multi-million-dollar misinformation organization. Look, I think that pretty much covers all that they have to say about emails. Like they're not reacting to anything new. They're pretty much talking over the same points, and I feel like I'm being pretty repetitive now. So I think we're gonna call it there, and we'll say that's that. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.